Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4, verses 9 to 10 states, 2 is better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, the one can help him up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them. Our campaign is Horror on the Orient Express, and this is episode 65. I'm your game master, and Jeff Wilkins will be giving our recap. The plot is coming into focus. The players are ready. Let's begin our journey into the darkness. Jeff?
Thanks, Tom. In our last episode, we started off with a bit of chaos because we all had just been attacked by a bunch of severed hands. Rupert has taken the worst of it, though, as he is now missing an eye. We get Rupert to the hospital. He's bandaged, and he's back with us in the hotel around 12:30 a.m., which I think would be a Tuesday. Rupert has a moment where he's disoriented because he's seeing through his other eye that someone is running. Later that morning, we leave Rupert at the hotel to rest while we go out to meet Professor Giordanoff at his office. We're looking for information on the piece of a statue that we've not found yet, the head. Dr. Dawkins finds an old manuscript and hands it to Eldridge since it's in Russian to be translated. The manuscript describes the Zhuzheta as an older race of little people or dwarves. The manuscript theorizes that they are the ones who built the statue. Eldridge thinks the head is possibly the most dangerous and questions who of us might touch it first. Frank volunteers, but we agree to take further precautions this time. The manuscript says the head is at the University of Sofia. Anton Chedeko is the professor in charge of the Antiquities Department. Giordanoff is kind enough to write us a letter of recommendation. We arrive at the university late afternoon, and we meet with Professor Chedeko, who is a rather small man and looks rather old. After introductions, he leads us up to the third floor, where he has the head of the statue. It should be noted that he is complaining of headaches. Just as we get to the doors, we hear a commotion from inside. Upon opening the doors, we see several men. One is decapitated and laying on the floor. 2 are what we look to be hired henchmen who are covering the escape of one other man who's leaving through the window onto the fire escape, carrying a canvas bag about the size of a head. A gunfight breaks out. Thankfully, no one is seriously hurt, although Dr. Keith has been hit. Then things escalate. One of the thugs removes a hand grenade and is about to pull the pin. We all run out of the room. Dr. Dawkins has run outside in an attempt to catch the man with the bag, but he's too late. The man has gotten into a big black car, and they're being protected by a truck that has a machine gun in the back. They shoot up the entire area with the machine gun before making their escape. Major Kristova has survived, although he has a concussion. We make our way back to the room where Dr. Dawkins finds one of the university employees has suffered a brutal attack. A fragment of his skull has been pushed into his brain, and he will need immediate surgery. Dr. Dawkins attends to the man, when Frank happens to notice that Dr. Dawkins is using the Mim Sahis, the cursed dagger, in order to perform the surgery. The surgery appears to go well. Major Kristova then leads our group away and takes us in his car to a sort of semi-secret location with about 30 other people. Kristova is very paranoid about the terrorists and having infiltrated the police force. He tells us there's some sort of cult that is involved in slavery. Eldridge then goes on, for better or for worse, to relay our experiences in full detail to Major Kristova. Shockingly, he believes us. Dr. Keith comes up with a great idea. Perhaps Rupert is able to see where the cult people are, and he could describe the area to Major Kristova. We agree that's a good plan, so we head back to the hotel to check in on Rupert. That brings us up to date.
Excellent. All right, so you come back up to the room, and you can hear Rupert moaning. He's in a good deal of pain. But he as he's laying there, as you come in, he's laying there. He's like, I've seen more things. I've seen more things, and it hurts. It hurts so bad. He says.
I look to Dr. Dawkins. Perhaps he can provide medical aid.
Did we ever retrieve that eye from the officer? I believe we might have.
Yeah, I asked him if he had the eye, and he said yes. And he pulled it out, and I said, "What color is it?" And he said it was brown. And I said, Rupert has blue eyes.
Did you bring the eye with you?
Yeah, I remember asking for it.
So I assume Dr. Dawkins probably has it.
All right.
Well, I'll tell everybody to give me some space and some room, and I'll attempt to provide Rupert with surgery.
All right.
To replace the eye.
There's.
Didn't we just? Wasn't it a different eye?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was. Yes. Okay. Sorry. I just wondered if I imagined that.
There seems to be some sort of a problem, Dr. Dawkins. Although you feel confident at this point that you could easily reattach this eye, there seems to be something interfering, some sort of force that's in the eye socket that doesn't seem to want to relinquish its space, so to speak. I don't know how to say it otherwise. I mean, you suspect immediately it's the magic that's connected him to the eye. If you're sure that if you can cancel out the magic somehow or stop the magic, that sounds so ridiculous, but if you can do that, you can easily give him an eye that would work. But at the moment, it doesn't seem to be working. Rupert grabs a hold of your arm as you're there trying, and he says, I could see they were in the mountains. Did I tell you that there was a village? It looked like a nice village, but it was down below. We were up on a cliff going along a dirt road, and I was very, very nauseous because it was a windy road.
All right, I'm writing all this down.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm gonna look to Frank and Elizabeth because I assume that we're off to the side. And I kind of look to them and I say, "How does Dr. Dawkins? How is he going to attach the eye? Does he have knowledge of optic nerves and everything like that?"
I thought he was just going to seal up the socket so that he could have a glass eye or something. I just naturally assumed that was what he was going to do. He's not planning on using that thing.
Yes, he is. I'm gonna rat you out.
And that's when I kind of like shout in Russian, like blasphemy, because we shouldn't be using magic. Magic is bad. You heard my backstory. Magic's bad. So I'm going to lean into Frank, and I'm going to say, I know what this magic can do. I had the medallion. If he continues using it, he could possibly become corrupted. The power could easily go to his head.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of too. We saw what it did to the other doctor.
Exactly. I nod, and I sort of glare at Dr. Dawkins' back as he writes everything down.
Unless we can just keep a close eye on him, and maybe we can solve this whole thing before it gets to that point.
Magic is not to be used by men. It's not.
I mean, I hear you, and I think I agree with you, but at the same time, the idea of Rupert gaining his eyesight back, I mean, that's got to be for good. So, I don't know, kind of torn. Is it just a tool?
What price will it come with? What will...
Exactly. The medallion, the record player I built, they were all for seemingly good things, but they ended up being bad. They ended up having a price.
Major Christova is there with you. Although he's not listening directly to your conversation, he says to Dr. Dawkins, have him take a pencil and paper and draw the shape of the mountains. I might be able to guess where they are.
Okay, so I do that. Is he up for?
Yeah, I mean, he's in pain, but physically he's more or less okay.
I'll while he's doing that, I'll fetch something that might dull the pain for him.
He draws some rather interesting, jagged sort of looking peaks, and when he does, Christova is looking at them, and he says, "I think I know where that is." He says that is a place called Chukurovo. It's about 25 miles south of here, southeast.
What's there?
There is that. Well, there's a town, but there are a lot of caves and things like that. And Rupert says, "Yes, caves. I've seen them." He's going. They parked the car and they went into a cave. And he's like, "Your friend is somehow this is black magic, but it's their black magic, and we are using it against them."
I nod at the major, but then glance back to my two compatriots with this kind of like very somber, very sullen look.
In the manuscript, this worked both ways. That they could see through his eye, and he could see through their eye, I suppose you'd say. It might be in our best interests then to perhaps
Blindfold him.
if we were to blindfold him. Yes.
Well, if you cannot come with us to this location, you'd have to stay here. We can't risk them knowing that we're coming. Getting the drop on them is important.
Can I ask Rupert a question, Dr. Dawkins, or is he kind of like in a trance sort of thing?
No, he's wide awake.
When he first had the shared vision thing going on, he talked about he felt like he was running down an alleyway.
Yes.
And now he's talking about the mountains and so forth. I was curious I think I know the answer, but I'm just curious if he was able to tell. Did it seem as though his eye was being carried, like as if in a jar or something like that? Or no. Is it like...
He's sure that it's in the person's head.
Okay.
Because when the person turns the person, in fact, it was the person who was getting ill in the car because of all the winding road. Oh. And he was feeling their illness.
Oh.
So if he can feel their illness, then they can probably, or the other guy can actually feel his pain. Perhaps.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Wayne.
Oh. I was saying that if Rupert can feel his illness, perhaps the man could feel his pain, the pain that he's going through right now.
Can Rupert, and I approach his bedside, my hands behind my back, and I say, could you, if you can feel the pain and feel his queasiness and also see, could you also hear?
He says, I can't hear anything, no.
I nod, and I say, that's good.
But I think that if I keep my eyes closed, he can't see.
And I say that, I say, the blindfolding thing should work if they cannot hear. He can at least come with us in the car. He can come with us to the town at the very least. So he's close by.
He says the visions also are getting clearer and clearer as time goes. The effect is getting stronger.
Can you feel them like about to happen? Like, do you have any warning, or is it just like you all of a sudden have this?
They're getting more frequent, and they're getting stronger and stronger. They're happening as things are happening to this guy. So he says, for instance, if I concentrate now in the pain, it's difficult to concentrate, but I can see he's inside of a cave, and there are stalactites and stalagmites, and it's a big cave. It's a big cavern, and he's heading towards an archway that looks almost like teeth, and there are other people there. And he says they're going into the mouth of this it's like a cave inside of the cave. It looks like a big shark mouth. Not that he would know what a shark mouth looks like, but it's jagged rocks. And he says, I think that there are cave paintings too. I think I saw they look like horses and mammoths and things like that on the walls.
Does this sound familiar, Major?
Well, the Major says, yes, there are such paintings in a lot of the caves. He says, I'm sure that we can find it. What side was the town on? Chukurovo. And he says it was on the left side. Yes, so they're going up the mountain on the right-hand side. We should be able to find the road. He says we're going to get reinforcements, of course, as well. He says, plus we have reinforcements now with you. One of his men, I guess he probably didn't bring his men with him. He just came alone. But, so never mind that. Never mind what I was going to say.
All right. Well, I suppose do we leave now or do we leave later?
How many people did he see?
He says at least maybe half a dozen, maybe more. They were all dressed in robes. Some of the robes were black, some of the robes were red.
Could I just clarify something for a moment? In the time that we were at this, what are we calling it? Their headquarters.
For lack of a better reason, yes, the headquarters.
Yes. While I was there, did anyone apply any first aid to me? Because I'm a little bit concerned that I have actually been shot.
Let me look to that.
I mean, I don't want to make a big deal about it.
I'll take a look.
You're a tough old bird. You're getting used to this sort of thing, aren't you?
It's only a flesh wound, but it is starting to sting a little bit.
Well, Dr. Dawkins, what are you going to do?
I'll patch her up if I can. You should have said something earlier.
I didn't like to mention it.
I will.
Dr. Dawkins immediately whips out the cursed knife. And, yeah, let me just fix that for you.
That's actually what I'm trying to find out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, how bad was her wound? I was just going to apply first aid.
At least she got shot through the arm, didn't she?
I thought it grazed her.
Oh, okay, maybe it grazed her.
Yes, it was a flesh wound.
But it does occur to you, Dr. Dawkins, that it's going to leave a nasty scar unless you apply a little extra first aid to it.
No, I mean, I would use the knife for emergencies. Let's say Frank gets shot really bad or gutted or something like that. Then I would use it to try to fix him up. But like a flesh wound,
I'd do it. To be honest, I'd do it myself. But you know, obviously, I've only got one hand to do it with now.
Yeah.
It being on the arm.
I'll take a look at it and I will.
All right.
Okay.
All right. It's not so bad that you can't just patch it up with some bandages.
Right.
You could probably fix it up better later.
Now, if her arm was hanging off, that would be a different story.
Right.
Maybe we should try. Maybe we should try shooting her arm off and just as an experiment.
Sorry, are you saying that out loud?
No. That was just a joke. Should I roll for first aid?
Sure. In fact, roll a bonus die.
All right, that's a 47. All right, I got a 47 and a 67, and no, for neither.
Okay.
For both rolls. So,
all right,
I'm just applying bandages.
What you find is your bandaging techniques here, although they are expert, it's just not satisfactory. It's you just can't leave this gaping wound on her arm. You know, she could get infected. You could solve that problem with just a flick of the wrist.
Beg your pardon?
What do you say?
I can think about it, but then I will say, I'll say to Elizabeth, these bandages they're not English. They're not made from Britain, so they're not as well manufactured. I'll look to your wound a bit later if it gets any worse, but let me know. Let me know if you're feeling any further soreness or if the bandages are bleeding through, and I'll try to replace them.
Righty ho. And I think I'm going to have quite a large whiskey.
Okay.
I would stay away from alcohol for the time being. Thins the blood, makes it a bit more leaky.
Well, it also makes it hurt less.
Oh, suit yourself.
Steadies the nerves, you know.
Pour me one while you're at it.
All right.
I'll endeavor to do so.
All right.
One-handed.
So, Christova says, what we need to do is we need to gather some of my men. This, I believe that your friend is seeing the headquarters of the butchers, and we have hunted them for so long. So we need to go in there, as they say in the United States, guns blazing, because I don't intend on taking any prisoners. These are monsters.
What time of day is it?
It's still midday, I believe.
Do you want
I don't remember.
How long would it take? You said about 25 miles.
25
right?
miles.
How long would that take with a vehicle from?
Probably about an hour because it's mountain roads.
Okay.
And hopefully we will have them by surprise. So.
Do wish to do it at night, or do you want to go during the day?
I think very likely this may be a trap. But we will have enough people that we can handle it.
That's a good point. Wouldn't you think that he would know that this vision thing is working both ways, so that if he's not making an attempt to hide their location, that's troubling.
It's possible. But he has given away what seems obviously their center, their whatever they are doing it in that cavern. And I intend to stop them.
What type of weapons do you have?
We have guns. I don't think that we could take cannons up there, but if we could, we would. We will go in fully armed. Shotguns, rifles.
Do you have any
Will you be
heavy
taking
guns?
any fully automatic machine guns with you?
Sure.
Yeah,
I don't
they
know.
use
I don't know
machine
if we
guns
have that.
against us.
Yes, I'm sure we can round up a few machine guns. As you say, Tommy guns.
You have any one of your men? Are they good with a rifle?
A few of them are very good with a rifle, yes. But we can, of course, only trust the ones that we know, the ones that back at my headquarters.
We can't afford to take any chances. Remember, they're very heavily armed. They had a machine gun, and they had a grenade.
Yes, this is a war, but this is a war that's been going on now for many, many years. I am convinced that many of the bodies that we have found along the times are directly responsible for them. They always take body parts. Hands, arms, legs, heads. They're butchers. We have them right where we want them. Possibly right where they want us, but this is what we do as police. So if you don't mind, I'm going to make a couple of phone calls to make sure everybody gets ready, and we will go there, and then we will head up the mountain. So he does exactly what he says. He gets on the phone and speaks Russian into the phone.
I'm going to look to the rest of the guys and ladies. What do you feel our role in this should be? Should we let the police be the police? And because I'll be honest with you, I'm not that good with guns, so I'm not so sure I want to be running in there with machine guns and rifles.
Well, quite so. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to shoot a machine gun. I doubt I could even hold on to one. I think we should let them do the business, and then go in afterwards and recover the head. Well, goodness knows what they're going to find in there. I think as long as we stick at the back, you know.
Of course, we don't expect the lady to be in the forefront. We will be in the forefront to take that is our job.
We can still go, though?
Of course.
Okay.
I do have a gun, you know, and I'll take it out and just wave it unthinkingly about the room.
Christoph is like, you think that scares me? I have faced.
I got one of those, chap. I got one of them. I got one of them.
Can I do a dodge roll?
Yeah.
Safety's on.
All right.
I was thinking, how much time are we going to have before we go up there?
That's up to you guys. But Christova wants to go ASAP, so.
I was thinking about doing, perhaps making a few things that might actually incapacitate these guys. Thinking of maybe if I can get I don't know, maybe a vial or something like that, and do a particular chemical mixture, maybe mixing ammonia and chlorine together, or having chlorine in one small vial and then have it in a
So basically, mustard gas.
something like that.
Yeah.
But something that I could, carry and then we can maybe throw at these guys.
That's up to you. However, finding ammonia and chlorine, especially chlorine, may be very difficult.
Okay. I was wondering.
And remember that mustard gas works both ways. If the wind blows in your direction, you're doomed.
Yeah, but you're right.
Rupert suddenly reacts with pain in his head, and he says, it's steamy. It's steamy. I can see steam. And Christova says, many of the mountains around here have hot springs. They're volcanic. Everything seems to be pointing to those caves.
Caves again.
Can Rupert tell us anything about the man's arms? Like, you mentioned robes. Is he wearing a robe? Like, I'm wondering, when we get in there, could we tell by any chance who this person is that has Rupert's eye?
He says so far he doesn't really look down at his arms. He's just walking forward.
Okay.
All right.
I was hoping Thomas would be back, but I'm going to say it anyway. There's something that's been bugging me about the escape from the university. The one man that we found on the floor, he was decapitated.
Yes.
And I'm not quite sure how to put that together with what we're looking for. In other words, all these other pieces we've been finding have been basically statue pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden we have a missing head as well as a missing statue head.
Christova says that they always take body parts as trophies.
Might I make a suggestion, Mr. Coates?
Please.
What if they have some means of... We know that with the parts of the simulacrum that we've found so far, whoever touches the part first experiences symptoms in that particular part of their body.
Mm-hmm.
What if they found some way to link the pieces of the simulacrum to parts of dead bodies, thus preventing them from suffering any damage themselves? I mean, it is, after all, they are the cult that is historically tied to this. They must know some of its secrets. Perhaps that's why they took the head.
Can I do a Cthulhu Mythos roll on that to see if that would make any sense?
Sure. Well, you can do an occult roll on it.
Okay. I didn't get it, either one. So
I suppose it's possible.
It sounds like it might be possible, but
They'd certainly accomplished some rather bizarre things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing at all, but I had one other thought where this thing has sort of been referenced to as like a piece of armor that you wear. I was wondering if maybe they're able to somehow put the statue head on top of the decapitated head. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
I don't know. I get the feeling that the pieces have to be completed before you could be able to use it as any sort of armor. I mean, so far we haven't been able to pull the parts that we have currently apart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that was the case, then perhaps. Well, have we even tried?
We have not. And I will say that that's been kind of bugging me because I think it's been mentioned one or two times that we've never tried to destroy the statue pieces. We've just gone with the assumption that Smythe was right and that we have to bring it back to Constantinople to destroy it. But
you know what? Let's walk out the room. Let Rupert get a bit of rest.
Okay. He's trying to get himself ready to go with you, though. He's got a blindfold that he's wrapped around his head.
All right. Well, I tell him to sit down. I hand him a brandy as well. Sit tight.
Thanks, mate.
And when we're out of the room, I'll say, when we do get a chance, let's try to do a bit more research on Constantinople as well, to see if there are any sort of dark ritual spots or something like that. Not saying that Smythe is dirty, but if he is, we want to be prepared. We don't want to walk in there and bring all the pieces together, and he's there. He's like, all right, now I'm going to put it together and take over the world or whatever you do with this thing.
mm-hmm.
So, I say before we even, I guess, get any closer to Constantinople, maybe we should try to do a bit of research of that spot, the place. And while we are here and while we're waiting for everybody to get things together, why don't we take a look at the pieces that we do have, see if there are ways to actually pull it apart and wear it as armor.
Let's say that Kristova has asked 5 of his best men to come and join you at the hotel.
Okay.
And that's going to take about half an hour.
All right, so since I have the torso piece, I'll go and I'll look at it. And I'll try to see if there's a way to perhaps open it or pull it apart a bit.
It appears to be solid. There is no seam. Who is affected by the torso?
I am.
Okay.
What if I pick it up and I guess put it up to my chest, hold it?
Like you hug it?
Yeah.
Go ahead and do a luck roll.
65 out of 45. Nope.
Nothing happens.
It has changed color though, right?
As you've taken it out, it was purple when it was in the dark, and now it's slowly going through the spectrum, going towards white, but it's still mostly purple at this point. Maybe a little more blue, going towards green.
They were sort of weird designs on it, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't have the...
I'll look at it a little more closely.
I don't have a torso, but there's a leg. It's made up of little legs.
Are those runic symbols? Well, not Norse runic symbols, but are they?
No, you don't see any symbols. That's just on that piece of art.
Okay. Okay.
What you see is, like I say, if you're looking at the torso, you're seeing little torsos, and the little torsos are made up of littler torsos, and
Okay. Yeah.
all arranged in patterns.
What happens if I hold it up to a mirror? Anything?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. No, it's just a thought. I'll put it away.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I'll see if I'll try to use the knife to see if I can.
I'm sorry. You're going to try to do what?
Use the knife.
Okay. What are you going to do?
Well, I'll run up along the side of it, see if I can find some sort of hidden seam, like run the edge of the blade.
So you're going to run the tip of the blade along the side?
Yeah.
And what are you thinking while you're trying to do this?
I'm thinking of there might be some sort of hidden slit or something.
So
like that.
you're attempting to open it by like finding the seam.
Yeah.
Okay. You is anybody there with you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm about ready to reach out and grab his wrist.
Okay.
Do I have time to do that?
You can try grapple.
Nope, not even close.
Okay. So you're about to say, no, don't do that, but
yeah.
As you move the knife along the surface, you can feel that the surface is rock hard. Your knife is not going to penetrate. But after you've moved about 6 inches, you suddenly have a burning, searing pain right here in your side, and blood starts gushing out.
Interesting. I'll say, shit. But
Interesting.
Yeah, and it burns. It burns like they described the burning of the Mem Sahibs.
Okay. Huh.
What can we do to help?
Nothing. I'll tuck the knife away, and I'll try to attend to my own wound,
You have gashed open your torso.
Oh no.
It's a deep.
Yeah.
Oh well, then I will really apply some first aid.
In what way?
I don't know. I'll try to use this knife to seal it up, I guess.
The knife will seal you up just fine and repair the damage and take away the pain. But you almost disemboweled yourself.
Wow. Okay, so
Next time I will be a little bit quicker.
No, this is good though, because now we know that anyone who has a piece of this simulacrum can be injured if the piece is injured in some way.
The possibilities that just opened up to your mind are numerous and terrifying. You could have tried smashing something with a sledgehammer, in which case...
Right.
Yeah. You could have tried dropping it into the ocean, and as it sank, something horrible would happen. Cold and pressure.
Which is really interesting because even when we do put this thing together and try to destroy it, it will destroy us in the end.
Not necessarily. That might be what the whole magic thing is.
The ritual end of it.
Mm.
But we can't wear it as pieces right now. and we have to make sure that it is that these things are extremely safe, put away in safe places.
So
Otherwise,
my curiosity, I would assume I can have access to my leg, right? The piece that I have. So I'm going to use like whatever's handy, like a butter knife or a letter opener.
Okay.
And I'm going to tap it
Okay.
to see if I feel the same tapping sensation.
More or less, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So almost a 1-to-1 ratio. Like if I were to use a little bit of force, I would feel that same sort of.
You would, yeah. If you poked it too hard with your letter opener, it would definitely penetrate your skin.
Okay. All right.
It also makes sense now that, as you may recall, Eldridge felt something grabbing his arm when you guys later found that the simulacrum had been disturbed.
Is it that sensitive? So if I were to grab the leg, it would feel as though I'm grabbing my own leg?
Not necessarily. Just holding the thing and fiddling around with it. It's not being. There's no attempt to damage it. So it seems that if you try to damage it, that's when it transfers the damage over.
Okay. Interesting. And I'm pretty sure we attempted to put the two pieces together. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I forget exactly what happened. Was it like trying to put two of the same polarity?
I thought you were a little afraid to do that. You've been taking great care to keep them all separate.
No, I thought that we tried to put it together to see if we can at least fit the pieces together.
Okay.
I can't quite remember.
I thought that there was some. It felt like trying to put two North Pole magnets together. And
Right.
Just
yeah, the pieces don't want to go together, at least not yet.
not yet.
Okay. All right. Lesson learned. Destroying is not an option at this point.
Don't tell Eldridge because he's not here.
I suddenly feel terribly vulnerable.
Yeah. To leave a body part behind where somebody could do something to it. That's.
And something that we haven't really stressed too much, but all of your symptoms are continually getting a little bit worse every day.
It makes me wonder how these pieces. I mean, like the older guy, that he was having headaches. I don't know. Maybe it's just not extreme enough.
Well, how long did he have it? That's the other question.
Yeah.
If he had just picked it up recently, then
No, it's been there for years.
years.
But he was in the university,
But I mean,
so he
what I
was
mean,
constantly in close proximity to it. And
He
it's
was,
meant
but-
that the note said that the symptoms get worse the further you are away from it.
It's true.
true, but
So obviously, when he went
Yeah.
home every night, he'd get headaches, more intense headaches. I guess.
yeah, I'm just wondering. I mean, he could have recently. What I mean by how long has he had it? I mean, when was the first time he handled it himself? Because it transfers. This particular pain transfers to the last person who handles it, or the first person who actually handles it, who's alive.
Well, apparently I can't answer your question completely because I don't have those notes anymore, but I've put them all away. The guy who found it, the guy who wrote the paper, he had it for a couple of years before he killed himself. His research assistant then, after a while farther on than that, it was 6 months or so later, she killed herself. And since then, it's just been sitting there in the university, and Chidenko was he was in charge of the collection. He didn't necessarily, he said that he touched it a few times, but it was never his.
Right. But he was probably the last person to touch it who was alive, basically.
You also had the doctor, what the hell was his name? Orient, back in France, and he and his family didn't even know the arm was there, but it was.
That's right.
It was really nearby.
Yeah, it was underground. I remember that.
And in fact, the one of the legs was in the clock tower in Venice, and it had affected people all around.
Magic. This magic stuff is tricky.
Yes, that's it. We don't really know how it works. We can only guess.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
All right.
seem to obey any real logic.
Yeah.
I was hoping Thomas would be back by now, but Kristova says, "All right, my men are downstairs. Are we ready to go?"
We are.
All right.
Can I cast a summon Thomas spell?
You can try it.
I'm gonna try it.
Roll a luck roll with 3 penalty point dice.
A cold roll, maybe?
Yeah.
27. That should do it. He'll be back.
GM roll. Come back, Thomas. Come back, Thomas. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Thomas will rejoin us when everything is over. All right. So go downstairs, and they have a number of heavy cars. I don't know what that means. They're a little bit more industrial than just fancy cars. And he's got 5 men with him, all with shotguns and backup. They're loaded to the hilt with weapons. And says, "Let's go.
Okay.
Let us be going to the mountains." All right. Rupert's in the back seat with you guys, bandaged up so he can't see. Which is probably a good thing because they can't tell that you're coming. Now, when you arrive you're not arriving, but when you're on the mountain road, Kristova guesses as you approach you're in the valley heading towards the mountain pass, and he says that Chukurovo is still a few miles down. It's in the middle of the valley. I assume they went up this mountain, so we need to look for the place where they veered off the road and went up a mountain road. So everybody do a spot hidden.
Okay. Oh God.
All right. 36 out of 47.
Okay.
31 out of 45.
Okay. Well, Frank, you're on the other side of the car, so you can't see as well. But the two of you notice what seems kind of obvious, that there was at one point some what looks almost like a camouflage tarp that had been set up so that it blended in pretty much with the bushes and the trees that were there. But that's been thrown to the side, and there's definitely a road going up that mountainside. So tell me if you see it. Obviously you see it.
Yes, yes.
All right. So let us get ready and go. So you start driving, and it's a narrow road, and it is windy. About a mile up as you're going, all of a sudden, Rupert starts to go, "Oh God, God, what's going on? Oh God," like this, and he's holding his head, and he says, "There's something happening. Oh my God, uh, there's something happening. There's blood, and there's are they doing some sort of a ritual? There's blood, and there's heads, and oh my God, my God!" And he just starts screeching. Yes, because Simon wouldn't really screech, but he's like, it's horrible. He says there's something there, and it's dark and monstrous, but I can't see what it is clearly. And oh my God, it's coming right at me. And he suddenly tenses up and screams, and then he sort of calms down, and he's like, it's all gone. And he's like, the pain is gone. And he just suddenly, for a moment, he looked absolutely terrified, and now he's just like, he says it's as if I were watching a movie and somebody just turned the movie off.
So you can no longer see.
This is nothing. You drive on for another 2 miles, and finally, the road sort of opens out a little bit, and you can see that there are at least 3 or 4. There are 4 other vehicles that are parked there. One of them is the big black car that Rupert described. That's the car. And there is a big cave mouth there.
This looks like the place.
You can also see that there is what looks like steam coming out, leaking out from the top part of the cave, because it's, of course, cold outside. But there's definitely heat coming from inside the cave. As I said, there are lots of hot springs in the area. All right. So, Christova parks the car. What do you do? Everybody gets out.
Can I have a pause for a second, Tom?
Yes.
Trying to think on something. Eldridge isn't really here at the moment. Which one of you two, Dr. Keith or Dr. Dawkins, would be sitting next to me in the car?
Probably Dawkins.
Well, I imagine I'd be sitting next to Rupert.
Okay, so I'm going to turn to Dr. Dawkins. I mean, I'm not saying this secretly, but I'm saying it low, meaning I'm just sort of trying to communicate. So I'm going to turn to Dr. Dawkins and say, you remember earlier when Eldridge, we had that little sit-down discussion about who was going to touch the head first?
Yeah.
And I volunteered.
You're backing up.
I'm not. But I will be honest and say that the main reason I volunteered so quickly was because all I could see was something bad happening to any of you guys, and I didn't want that to happen to anybody else. So that's why I volunteered so quickly, because I wanted to take that. I would rather that happen to me than to be witness of something bad happening to any of you. But now that I've had time to think about it, I've been away from my wife for a long time, and she was not first and foremost in my mind, and I'm feeling incredibly guilty over that.
Mhm.
So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not backing out, but if something bad should happen to me, if you could check in on my wife and
You don't have to worry about that. If nobody else will step up, I'll step up. I'm the one that has no family, so I won't be missed. You all have families, so don't worry. I'll take care of it.
all right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
That was it.
Is that what was bothering you? That's all right. Yeah.
So you park the car, and everybody gets out. You can smell sulfur.
That's never a good sign.
Oh, good smell of brimstone.
It's not overpowering, but it's definitely in the steam. So you're all standing outside the mouth of the cave. The police will go first, but you guys kind of tell me what you want to do.
Well, before the police go, I'll pull the sergeant. I guess he's a sergeant aside, and I'll ask I'll ask him quietly, like, which of these men do you trust? Which ones?
Absolutely trust all five of them. That's why I picked them.
Okay. Who are your two sharpshooters?
Chekhov and Sulu. I'm sorry, I just couldn't.
Well, I'll say I didn't really need names, but I would say
Right.
like once we get into the cave, have them find a good spot for them to set up.
Right. Everybody do a spot hidden.
And I didn't get that one.
8 out of 45.
That sounds good. Dr. Elizabeth, as you're standing there looking at them, you sort of look over to the side. There's trees. There's a what looks like, at first you thought it was just sort of like a bunch of low bushes going across, but now you realize it's that same camouflaged sort of netting, and that in fact between the rock escapement and the big pine tree that's there are two military grade machine guns that are, I'm going to say they're pointed at you, but there's nobody manning them. So it's definitely a position where the bad guys would have, taken up if they were assaulted. But there's nobody there. Now that you're looking, you can see the machine guns.
Is there anyone present who knows how to use machine guns?
You just point them and pull the trigger. These are on big tripods.
Oh, right. They're just sort of, so you just sort of,
yeah,
rat-a-tat-tat sort of thing.
So how do you want to proceed?
Why don't we? You said there are two of them.
Yes.
Why don't we have two of the officers man these guns, or at least have Eldridge stay out here since Eldridge is here.
Okay.
And have him man one of them, and if things go bad, we can run out.
In case the bad guys come up the hill?
Yeah.
Okay. So Eldridge will stand outside and man the machine gun.
How about
one of them?
How about Rupert? Is he in any shape to man one? I mean,
Rupert is actually feeling quite well all of a sudden. Much better.
Would he be willing, Rupert, would you be willing to man the other?
Sure.
Okay. So we have these two places covered.
Good idea. I think it's a good idea if Rupert's not in the cave with us. We have no idea what might happen if he gets close to that.
Okay. All right.
Leader.
So you start into the cave. And it almost immediately goes both left and right. As soon as your eyes kind of adjust to the darkness, you definitely can see paintings on the walls kind of up high that look very primitive, like cavemen paintings. Men hunting deer, men hunting buffalo, bears, things like that. Nothing sinister about them at all. The air in here is warm, much more comfortable than outside. There's definitely steam and a sulfur smell to everything, and you can hear the constant dripping of water. Which way do you want to go, left or right?
And it still smells of sulfur in here, right?
Yeah. Most hot springs smell kind of sulfury.
Do we
like rotten eggs?
Can we pick up any smells of blood
No.
in the air as well?
Not at the moment.
Did Rupert give us any indication of which way they went?
Rupert's outside.
No, when he was recounting his story.
He didn't say anything.
Do we see any footprints, tracks, or anything like that on the ground?
It's mostly rock once you're inside.
Well, what do they say about the evil path? The evil path leads the left way, correct?
The left-hand path.
Okay. So you start down the left, and it's a rough cave. It's not going in a straight direction at all. It's kind of winding. And there is at least one place you come to where to your right-hand side, there is a little, maybe 15 feet wide by 15 feet deep, where there is a pool of water in the ground that is steaming. You move along a little past that, and you find a place where the passage once again goes both left and right. But across the floor, right in front of you, going crossways, there is a definite trail of blood.
Is it like a streaking trail, like somebody's been dragged?
Yeah, in part like somebody's been dragged. It's not a lot of blood, but it's definitely there. You can't tell which direction they were dragged either.
So did you say it was a lot of blood or not a lot of blood?
Well, altogether, it's definitely somebody was bleeding and being dragged, maybe.
Oh,
but it's not a huge amount of blood.
Okay.
Somebody with a really bad wound, maybe.
So we came in through like a T intersection, and we went left.
Correct. And now you're at another T intersection going left and right.
That's right. And the blood is going left to right.
Correct. It's going across your path.
Okay, gotcha.
From left to right or from right to left?
You can't tell.
You can't tell.
You can do a track roll. Maybe you can tell.
My track is horrible. And no, I got a 70.
Okay. Yeah, you can't tell which direction it's going.
And I'm sorry, I got distracted. The police, are they in the cave with us, or?
Yes. Yeah. So you're all sort of seeing this together.
Okay.
They might see it a couple seconds before you do.
What I was going to ask is, if I examine the place where the blood is, because Rupert was saying something about decapitated heads and blood all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if they dragged a body that was decapitated especially over this rocky surface. I'm trying to see if there's like maybe a large concentration of blood in certain areas. If that's the case, that means that they might have been dragging the body by the legs and the blood is spurting out of the...
You can't really tell. But you're not really going to take a lot of time to stand here and try to figure that out. So left or right? By the way, now you can smell blood. You can smell possibly more than blood. We really need to add a smell roll from now on. Just say it's the same as your say it's the same as your sight. So do a spot hidden.
Oh, I got an 05.
Okay, that's definitely.
12.
It's not only blood, but it smells kind of like rotting meat as well.
Rotting meat.
There's Eldridge.
Does is the blood like coagulated or is it like
Fresh.
Where's the rotting meat smell coming from?
It's in the air. You
Just
can't
in the
tell.
air?
Yeah.
May I I'll just take out my monocle and just have a little examine of the blood and see if I can distinguish which way it's coming from. But I also only have a base tracking skill. I'll give
You
it a
can
go.
try, but I think I've given you enough chances. At this point, the police are going to decide which direction to go.
Oh,
I didn't know you had a mono.
bast!
They're going to go
I've
left.
got 21 and my skill is 20. Can you believe that?
Luck point.
Yeah, well, you can use a luck point if you want.
Okay, I will use a luck point then.
You're pretty sure that the whatever it was going left, from right to left, and the police just decided to go left.
Yes,
Eldridge,
I agree
you were
with
in a
them.
cave if you.
I think.
We'll go left. But and first of all, how big is the space going? Is this
Where you are, it's about 10 feet wide.
10 feet wide, so maybe two body, like 2 and 2? You can go 2 abreast, or is it?
Well, let me say the police go ahead of you. But after maybe 20 or 30 feet, the police start slowing down, and they sort of stop because the cave itself is getting narrower and narrower, and the cops finally say that they can't go forward anymore. That it's just it's practically just a crack at this point. But they can't go forward any longer. They obviously have to go back the other direction.
But the blood did come from this way.
No, the blood went in this direction.
Went into this direction.
It came from the other direction.
Nervously, I say, I agree with the police. Let's head back the other way, away from where the blood went into.
Hey, wait a minute. Aren't you supposed to be on that machine gun? Who's out there?
Well, that's right. Eldridge, you're on a machine gun outside.
Oh, so can I come inside?
We didn't know where you were, where when you were coming back.
Winky face.
Uh,
I'm going to wander into the dark cave by myself. I grow tired of waiting.
Rupert's like, I got this. You go in.
I'm blinded.
I'll tell you what, Rupert. I'm sorry. I'll tell you what, Eldridge. Rupert decides. He says, "Look, man, I can stay here and man the machine guns. You go in and help them."
All right.
Okay. So Eldridge, when you walk into the mouth of the cave, you don't know which direction they went, so left or right.
Can I do possibly a listen roll? Maybe hear voices?
You can do a listen roll.
Okay. And 39, what's my listen? 40. Oh, shit. All right.
All you hear is dripping water. The air is filled with steam, and it smells of sulfur.
So hell. All right.
Everything is wet inside here.
All right.
And there are paintings on the wall of they look like they're caveman paintings of bison and things like that being hunted by people, and
Sure.
nothing sinister.
I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to place it up against the wall, and I'm just going to follow it.
So you're going right.
I'm going to go right. I'm going to follow the wall.
Okay. Cool. I love it when you go the other direction from the one that they went.
well, fuck you, Tom.
I was so hoping you hadn't heard which direction they went.
I was on the phone. Oh, shit. All right.
All right. Well, Rupert wouldn't have known which direction they went.
No, Rupert wouldn't have known.
I mean, sorry, Eldridge wouldn't have known. Okay.
Fuck my client. All right, let's.
All right. So I'll do you both as we go. Okay. So the rest of you are now backtracking, and you get to the point. So go ahead.
Sorry, can I clarify? The cave came to a crevice that we couldn't through. Did the blood continue as far as we could tell?
The police said it seemed to. There wasn't much blood, but somehow it seemed to continue.
Okay, sorry. Yep.
It's just they couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
All right, so you start back the other direction. And Eldridge, you're walking along and you find a place where there's no other choice but to almost do a back to go. You're a switchback. So if the direction you're going is, let's say east, you're now going west. But you've gone forward in the cave. The cave is curved around.
Okay.
As you were going, you hear something up ahead. It sounds maybe like somebody coming in your direction.
All right. Spot hidden. I want to see if there's a location where I can hide. Maybe behind a rock or a stalactite or something like that.
There is a little crevasse where you can sort of squeeze in.
Okay. I'm going to. Okay. I'm going to squeeze into the crevasse.
Okay. The others of you have returned to that same junction, and you can either go back the way you came to the entrance, or you can continue down the passage that you didn't take, the one where the blood came from.
Yeah, let's go back towards the way that the blood was coming from.
Okay. You go about 20 feet, and the cave now splits into two directions, left or right. It's kind of a Y.
I'm gonna have to start putting markers here to remember which way we came. This will be worse than the catacombs.
Yeah.
Let's head left.
Which one did you say, left or right?
I say let's head left. I mean, is there anything around that will indicate, like, are we seeing anything else, like more blood or any sort of
there seems to be a few splatters of blood here and there, but it's hard to tell which direction they came from.
Okay.
Eldridge, as you're looking down the passage, expecting to see somebody come around a corner, what you haven't guessed is that it's a T-juncture you're looking at. And just as you're looking at it, you see a couple of policemen walk past the juncture, followed by Dawkins and Elizabeth.
Okay. I slip out and I say in my nice monotone Vulcan voice, gentlemen and ladies.
And all of a sudden, the cops all turn their guns towards you and jump a little bit.
And I stand there just like...
No, don't shoot him. He's one of us. Or is he? What the hell are you doing? I thought you were manning the machine gun.
What was our secret password?
Yeah.
Oh,
what?
God.
Yeah,
Oh.
remember that?
Oh my God! See, the thing is, I completely forgot that we had one.
So did I.
Uh-oh.
I know what it
I
is.
have my gun out. What is it? What is our secret word?
Is it pineapple? It's pineapple. I think it's pineapple.
I cocked my gun back.
Immediately.
It's friendship. All right. I'm actually legitimately trying to remember the secret word.
I am too.
Because I came up with the idea of it.
It's really obvious.
I
when you
think I
about
know.
it. What else would it be? Is the clue I was giving you.
Oh my God! It is meatball subs. It is meatball subs, Wayne. They can't see, but you said that, and I was like, it's meatball goddamn subs.
What else would it be?
What else would it be? I came up with it, so
All right.
I say it's a meatball subs from Arkham, the best in the world.
Get over here.
All right. So you guys are back together, and as you move down the passageway, it gets wider, and you do see more blood on the ground. You come to a point where right up ahead of you, you can see that the cavern itself almost looks like a big jagged mouth with teeth pointing down. They're like little, like needles almost. Definitely what Rupert described. And you really have no choice but to go into it.
I arm myself with my pocket knife and brass knuckles.
Oh, you didn't bring a gun?
I don't know. I don't have a gun. I don't have it. I do not have a gun skill.
That's right. You guys are all armed to the teeth. You've got 5 cops with you. They've got shotguns, and they passed out shotguns to everybody. So you've all got.
Sure, I'll have a shotgun.
Guys are
Also, yeah.
As you move through this passage, it goes down for just a little bit, and then it opens into a huge cavern. The cavern is lit by torchlight all the way around. And there's a couple things that you notice. One is in the center of the room, there is a pyramid of, from this distance, they look like balls, but they're probably heads. The room reeks of rotting meat. And there are dead bodies all over the ground as well. Some of them in red robes, some of them in black robes. The robes have been ripped to shreds. There's body parts lying around. Some people have been almost torn in half. Do a sanity roll.
I fail.
9. Oh, it's just some dead bodies.
1d2 if you passed, 1d4 if you failed.
2.
2.
All right.
4.
There are numerous dead bodies in the room. Most of them, like I say, they've been torn limb from limb.
Good God.
As you move forward, you realize that this pyramid in the center of the room, which is pretty big, I mean, we're talking 15, 20 feet high, is composed of human heads. And most of the farther down the human heads are, the more decayed and rotting they are. The fresher ones seem to be up higher. But you can sort of catch a glimpse of something up on top of this pyramid of heads that's almost like purple. It's almost it has a strange reflective sort of quality to it.
I sigh because the head is on top of a pyramid of heads, and I didn't bring a change of clothes.
Yeah.
The policemen are horrified. There's nobody alive in here.
Are you guys thinking that's probably why Rupert had the sudden respite? Is that something killed the...
I don't know. But how far up is it?
It's about 20 feet up.
Tom, this is a long shot.
You want to try to shoot it down?
No. I mean, I had that idea, though. I did have that idea, but...
you should probably explain something to Eldritch that he was not here for.
Maybe. I'm going to assume that Rupert had like a weird conniption fit and something probably killed the guy that we were seeing him through.
It's not what I was talking about, though.
Oh, well, that's good. More things I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a gut feeling about all this? Like, is it possible to feel my gut and see if like we need to get out? Because I have this nagging in me. Thomas has a nagging feeling that we need to run away.
Well,
something did this to them.
I know. That's why I'm saying this is a trap. We need to run. Like something is telling me, Thomas, the player, we need to run. So I'm wondering if I get the same sort of feeling, the character.
Well, you did your sanity roll, so you are still physically in control of yourself. Mm-hmm. You might want to run, but you don't want to look like a chicken.
Not a black chicken either. That came out wrong.
Could we perhaps, if the
watch
things
the other episodes to get that reference, please?
How stable is this pyramid of heads?
I don't know.
How high is it?
I was just wondering whether we could sort of use a Jenga or Kaplunk type approach.
Well, we really want to do
Pyramid, so
that.
it's pretty stable. You might be able to climb it.
Oh.
What's my climb? Base? I'm not climbing nothing.
I think I have to. I'm going to climb it.
I've been shot in the arm. I'm
You'll take a penalty if you do.
How high is it? I'm sorry.
About 20 feet.
Oof, that's a lot of heads.
I'm wearing a very nice tweed skirt, and I honestly don't trust anyone in this country to clean it properly.
Dr. Dawkins, do a medicine or a first aid roll.
And I get that. 40 out of 50.
There is something here that bothers you. It's one of those things that you've seen before on your adventures. There's just not enough blood here to describe what's happened to these people.
I'll say that out loud. There's just not enough blood here. And I'll pause for a moment. And then I'll say, to account for all these heads.
Oh, dear.
Well, or the bodies that are all around you.
Right, but there's not enough blood here.
The heads were obviously brought in. So,
Do any of these... I was going to say, do any of these heads look familiar? But the guy that was decapitated at the museum, well, not the museum, at the university, his head was still there, though. They didn't.
No, they
no,
took
his
it.
head was
Oh,
gone.
they took it?
They took it.
And you don't know what he looked like. But
What wouldn't they...
there is a fresh head up on top of that pile towards the top.
I then have a horrifying realization. And I say to the group, weren't there dwarves that lived in caves that supposedly made this head?
That's an old legend.
And I then gesture to the pyramid and I say, perhaps not.
The policeman's law. No, this would probably easily account for all of the things the butchers have done over the past 15, 20 years. As I say, they take body parts. They take heads a lot.
What is the purpose of this? And I'm looking around. You said that there are bodies around. Are they hanging? Are they?
No, they're thrown on the ground.
Are they thrown into some sort of pattern?
Nope. Just all over the place.
Are there any other like cracks, crevices, caves, entrances to this larger cavern that we're in right now?
No, not that you can see.
So it's pretty safe to assume that we're the only ones alive in this cavern. Right? In other words, whatever did all that massacre is not here in the cavern right now. Is that safe to assume?
I don't know. You can assume that if you want.
Okay, let me rephrase that. If I look around this cavern, I don't see any creatures or...
Do a spot hidden.
Oh, 15.
You don't see anything.
Okay. All right, I'm going to start climbing the heads.
All right. Go ahead and do a climb roll.
Didn't you say that you wanted me to?
Nope.
Okay. I would like you also to do a constitution roll.
Okay. Which one first? Does it matter?
Well, do a constitution roll. You're slipping.
71 is a fail by 1 point.
Okay. I think that the putrefied remains that you are climbing they probably make you vomit, and that makes you slip a little bit. You slide down a little bit, which is just gross beyond all imagination. You can do a sanity roll. But actually, I think you'll do a sanity roll afterwards. So go ahead and do another climb roll. See if you can.
Base climb. Yay. No, 72.
Okay. You're sliding down.
Well, if he's sliding down, is he disturbing any of the heads?
They're pretty stable. He's shifting them a little bit, but the pyramid itself is pretty stable.
Is there like a stone or like rocks lying about in the cave?
No, not really. There's rock everywhere, but it's all
but no,
kind of limestone-y.
But no like loose rocks or small stones or anything like that.
Do a luck roll. If you get it, you'll find something. Maybe you'll break off a stalactite or something.
30 out of 45.
Okay. You managed to snap off a baseball bat-sized stalactite.
What I was going to use this for was just chuck this at the top of the pyramid to see if I can knock off the.
Okay, do a luck roll.
Don't hit me.
Oh, stand back.
You've slid all the way back down to the bottom.
Oh, I'm all the way at the bottom? Oh.
Oh, wow, that is a 96. So no. So I fling it, but it goes wide or something.
You fling it, and it hits a couple of the heads on the top, but it doesn't hit the purple thing.
You know, when I was a girl at school, I was terribly good at rounders. Rounders. It's sort of like your baseball, but underhand.
Okay.
With a shorter bat. Yes. Well, sort of like like that.
I'll go fetch the piece of stone that I threw up and hand it to you.
Why didn't you guys do this before I climbed ahead of it?
I was going to suggest that, but you decided to.
We thought you were enjoying yourself.
Go ahead.
Didn't like to intrude. Okay. I shall give it a good punt.
Okay.
And 24 out of 20.
Okay. Do you want to do spend some luck?
I think I better.
Okay. You chuck this baseball-sized, base bat, a bat-sized piece of stalagmite up at it, and you hit the purple thing, and it tumbles down the other side of the pyramid.
I'll go fetch it.
As you walk around the pyramid, what you see is that it's not what you thought it was. It's a pillow. It's a purple velvet pillow that you've hit. It's rolled down the side, and you can see a very distinct trail of blood that's leading across the floor from down the side of the pyramid over to the far wall. And there is a large crack in the floor, and it's leading towards that crack, and there is a body that seems to have been treated in a far worse manner than the other people in this room, and they were all treated pretty badly. This guy has literally he's had his joints separated, probably one by one, as he was torn apart.
Good Lord!
But there's a crevasse there. It's only about maybe 1.5 feet wide. It's a crack in the floor.
I'll motion for everybody to come over, but I'll examine the body. Does it look like he might have been downed at one point and pulled apart that way? So
No.
Something did this to him.
It also looks like something smashed in his skull.
Can I do a medical roll to see what type of instrument or what?
No, it's smashed.
It's just smashed.
You can tell that whatever did this to these people was not any animal that you've ever encountered. You think that even a lion or a tiger wouldn't have left these kind of wounds.
Oh my goodness.
And there's just not as much blood as there should be. But it definitely looks like this thing was going for that crack and maybe had just made it to the crack before it was then torn limb from limb.
Wait, you're saying it? You mean it's not human?
No, it was human.
Oh.
There's bits of robe and stuff like that. So,
but it's a robe. It's not like clothes.
Is the head attached?
This must have been a cultist then.
Yes, this is definitely a cultist that's been torn limb from limb.
And the head is the head still there? Or is that
like I say, his head's been smashed.
Oh, right.
By something very powerful and very heavy, but there's no like big rock or anything right there.
And it's leading towards that crevice. I walked back into the main room and I looked straight up. Is there any sort of opening?
Nope.
Okay. Let's examine this crevice a bit more closely.
Okay.
Be very careful. It might be in the crevice, whatever attacked him.
Well, the crevice is not very big. Like I said, it's maybe about the widest part. It's probably about a foot and a half. It's not very long. It seems to be a natural part of the cave, actually, now that you look at it. You can't really see down inside of it very well, but it's probably not very deep. There might be, if there's something in it, you might be able to reach down in there and grab it. But you'll have to kind of maneuver your hand a little bit to do it.
Who's willing to do that? Rick?
Not it. I'll get the head, but I'm not reaching my arm into it.
Do we not have flashlights or lanterns or something?
You do have flashlights, but it's not like a straight down hole.
Is there any single piece that is detached from the body that is still large enough and long enough and still intact where I could pick it up?
Yeah,
like an arm or a leg.
There's an arm, say.
Okay, I'm gonna pick it up.
Okay.
And we're holding it out like this. I'm gonna approach the crack. And I'm gonna stick the hand and forearm into it.
Okay. Nothing happens.
I'm gonna jostle around a little bit, make some noise.
Nothing. You do hear something that sounds like it could be, let's say, a rock that's moving around when you move the hand around. Like there's something down in the crevasse.
Crevasse. We're not fancy. We don't say crevasse. All right. I turn to the group and I say, I think that there's something actually down there.
Something?
And I drop the arm. An object.
Oh, an object. I thought you meant a thing.
No, an object that we could perhaps grab and remove.
Well, for goodness sake, be careful. Remember that last cave we were in?
I nod slowly and I pull out my flashlight and I'm going to shine it into the crevice.
Okay. Like I say, it's kind of curved, so you can't really see around the corner.
Okay. There's got to be a way that I can do this without sticking my hand in.
Probably not.
Jeez, if you guys are too chicken to do it, let me do it. I'll step aside. I'll do it.
By all means, Dr. Don, I take a step back because I am a coward. I'm a pussy. Go, do it.
Dead body. Shouldn't a policeman be investigating it?
the policemen are looking around trying to figure out what the hell happened, and they're kind of freaked out. They're kind of like, oh my god, this is your game. So
aren't they our red shirts though?
What's that?
Yeah.
No, they're not.
A voice from God calls down and says, "This is your game."
So in order to reach down in here, you're going to have to get down practically on your belly to reach down in. Is that what you're going to do?
That's what, one of us has to do it. I might as well.
So you're going to do it. All right. As you reach your hand down there and start feeling around, you can feel 3 things. One of them feels smooth and round and fairly large. And there's a couple of odd-shaped, very strange feeling, almost like it almost has a paper feel to it, but they're lumps. They're lumps about fist size, and they have an oddly familiar feel, but you can't figure out what the hell they are. They're light. They're not heavy. What do you want to do?
I'll try to pull it out.
Okay, the little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes out very easily, and it's a head of garlic.
And I immediately make the cross because holy shit, and I begin saying like holy shit, because I know what this is.
No.
Thank you, vampire.
You
No.
also seem to recall a dream that you had when you were in Lausanne, and you were in Dream Lausanne, where you saw a whole bunch of garlic down a street, and there were no shadows being cast. It comes back to you rather vividly.
Okay. I'll reach down again.
Okay. You're pretty sure the second little ball is another head of garlic. The bigger thing feels smooth, but it's oddly shaped, and as you feel it, you're pretty sure that you're feeling a nose, not
Is it-
flesh, like a sculpted nose.
I grab onto that.
Okay, it starts to come out, and as it does, you try to shift your position so that you can get leverage on it, and you cut your cheek with the rock that you're leaning against. But as you do, you remove the head of this Sedevkar simulacrum from the
Awesome.
crevice.
Dang it, Dr. Buckets.
And I look at Frank and I say, we had an agreement. You'll be going home to your wife, hopefully, if we all make it out of this alive.
And you immediately have a headache.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
going to need some aspirin. Well, did they have aspirin back then? They should have had aspirin.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They did actually.
Aspirin, heroin, cocaine.
Cocaine.
Poppy.
I think cocaine.
No,
cocaine
no,
would
no
work
problems
out
with
better.
headache.
Anyways, I think that's probably a good spot to stop.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Our players included Thomas McKeon, Mick Swan, Jeff Wilkins, and Wayne Worthy, with myself as the keeper of the secrets. We're currently producing 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. Patrons of our show can now enjoy recordings of our pre- and post-game conversations. Some of the funniest and most interesting stuff occurs before and after the show. If you'd like to become a patron, visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We love hearing from you. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.